So basically, pipeline materials are the materials which is actually supplied by the pipeline. There can be some materials which is not supplied by the pipeline, but you still can go ahead and set up the pipeline process for them. But actually it is meant for the materials which is not coming through the gate entries, but which are coming from the pipeline. So the example, the perfect example of this is the electricity, which come through the wire, or that you can consider as a pipeline, water, and we also have a some cases you also have some oil supplies in some plants come through the pipeline. In one of the plant which we have used, generally this is used for electricity, water, this oil supply. If you are talking about your petrol, diesel, to run your generator sets, it will be coming in the indirect materials, right? So mostly the pipeline would be used in the indirect materials, but pipeline can be used for both. Pipeline can be used for direct, or pipeline can also be used by the indirect material. I have worked in a scenario in Indonesia where we were working into a chemical factory which produced the soap noodles. Okay, so this was a plant, and near the plant was put it there where basically a lot of farming of palm was there, and a lot of refinery was there who were supplying the crude palm oil. So there were the vendors was there around the factory, and we have set it up with the big vendors. We have set it up a pipelines to the plant with all the government permission, so that directly palm oil, which is used to produce soap noodles, would be used. So in this case, this was a raw material. This was not the indirect material, but this was a raw material. Now, in these cases, in both of the cases, when we are using this material, what is common in these cases? One thing is common, that the supply is continuous supply. What are the characteristics? It's a continuous supply, right? Second, there is no gate entry. Gate entry is not there. That is another thing we cannot control. Generally, the things can control. It comes to the gate, you can check, then you can do the entry. The controls, the gate entry controls are not there. What controls would be there? Controls would be there with the valves plus meters. We'll be having a valves and meters. We'll open the valve, we'll get the oil or get the material. Okay, and we would not be having and we'll be having a meters which will be measuring it, that how much of the crude oil we are getting it. Third thing here is we don't require to store the material. Storage not required at our end, because it's a continuous supply from the pipeline. Then what is mean to store it? There's no need to get it stored, right? So stock would not be there, gate entry would not be there, it would be a continuous supply. And fourth thing would be there is no planning required. Planning is also not required for these kind of materials. So when planning is not required, all the components are there, it means it's a simplified process. So other process can be there. You can create a purchase requisition, you can create a purchase order, you do the GR, and then you do the invoice. So here in this case, SAP has provided a simplified process. A simplified process has been provided. What would be there in this simplified process? We would be directly consuming the material. We'll book the consumption, and we pay to vendor. There would not be any kind of purchase requisition, no purchase order, no GR, no stock, no planning in this case. We'll be directly booking the consumptions. The booking of the consumption we'll do with the Migo. And to generate the payment to vendor, we will be doing a settlement. Settlement is nothing but your invoice with MRKO transaction. So we'll do the Migo and we do the invoice. Migo invoice payment. Migo invoice payment. No purchase order would be there. Okay, no purchase order would be there. So it can be the similar process when you get the electricity bill, right? What we do with electricity bills generally, one way is that to create a purchase order, it does not make sense, right? Already you have consumed the materials, already electricity has been consumed, and then you got the bill. You need to pay the bill. There is two ways to get the bill paid for the electricity bill, which comes to the company. There are the two ways. One is considering electricity as a pipeline material, okay, and booking the consumption on our accounts. We can book the consumption based on the bill or based on the meter. Our meter, we can book the consumption, and then we can release the payment to the government. Or the vendor need to be created, and we need to do the payment to the vendor. That is one process. Another process some companies follow is the direct finance process. That once the invoice comes, they directly book the finance invoice with the financial transaction invoice is booked. Still, the vendor need to be created, business partner need to be created. Invoice would be finance invoice would be created, and a payment will happen for it. That's a financial process followed rather than the process followed. If it need to be followed through the way, this is the way it can be followed. Can we create a purchase order for these materials? Whether the purchase order creation would be required, you can go with any process. Okay, you can go with any process. If you create a purchase order, if you say that I will also do the good receipt, you can do the good receipt, and then you can do the consumption immediately. After the good receipt, you can do the consumption, or you can create them as a non-stock materials. Non-stock material, you can create it. You can create a material. You can create a PO. Whenever you will do the GR, it will be automatically consumed. So there are the multiple ways, okay, to answer the business scenario in the SAP. Normal purchase order also you can do it. You can also do it with the financial transaction, and you can also do with this process, which is a pipeline material process. In this process, you need to create a material, special material type we will be using. That is a pipeline material, and that we would be using. If your business wants a simplified process, okay, in this way, purchase requisition, purchase orders are not required. The approval process is not required. And they can say that, okay, this is a simplified way we want to put it. As per the consumption, we are paying to the vendor. Then this is the process we put, the pipeline material process we put. Consumption of the material can be booked with the Migo. Consumption of the material can also be booked from the production order. Okay, sometimes this crude oil would be coming and it will be going directly into the production line. So it can be also directly consumed in the production order, and based on the consumption in the production, we would be paying to the vendor.